You'd be hard pushed to compare DS's product onslaught with, say, Audi, BMW or Mercedes, but that's not to say the flashy French brand hasn't been working day and night to offer a compelling proposition for those not taken by the German establishment. If we discount the rebadged Citroens of the early 2010s, the more recent DS7 and DS3 SUVs hold appeal in their own right, while the DS9 Saloon offers a comfort-focused take on the company car formula. Now though, it's the turn of the DS4, a hatchback come crossover designed to hit the Mercedes A-Class exactly where it hurts. And it seems you'd be a fool to dismiss it, whereas the DS3 and the DS7 were perhaps a bit bling, a bit chintzy, and the DS9, well, that just wasn't that fashionable, was it? Because it's a saloon after all. The DS4, it's got something about it. But I'm not going to stand here and pick apart the design. That's for you, the potential buyers, to decide. But certainly, in the metal, proportionally, it strikes a pretty convincing pose. Inside it looks the part too. You still get a smattering of these diamond-shaped buttons and switches that you did in previous DS models, but it's been toned down. And that's a good thing. Just because people want something that isn't a Mercedes or a BMW doesn't necessarily mean they want something radical or something that's really going to make them stand out from the crowd. Now, a key feature in here are these invisible air vents, which are called DS Air by the brand. It apparently removes the need for conventional slots and slats with the blades hidden behind the dash. Okay, it's not hot today, but I've not once thought that the climate control was anything but flawlessly effective. Quality is very good. You've got soft touch materials everywhere that you expect them. You've got leather on the steering wheel, some wood up here on the doors, and the central tunnel here, that's covered in leather too. The seats, they're so comfortable and so cushioned, and that is something that we've seen in DS models before. The screens, in terms of connectivity and everything, you've got a big screen here in the middle and some digital dials. Now the whole screen here has been revamped. It's far easier to use and far more responsive, and the graphics have been updated as well. And you get that convenient home button on the side. You also get this small screen down here. It's basically a shortcut menu. So if you hold your finger on here, you have access to 6 shortcuts, and you can program those exactly as you want them, which means I can navigate straight to the map and then use it straight through the main screen. DS offers 3 style treatments: DS4, DS4 Performance Line and DS4 Cross, as well as different trim levels within those models. Every version gets at least 19-inch wheels, LED lights and a 10-inch touchscreen, while moving up the range brings luxuries like a head-up display, matrix lights and semi-autonomous drive functions. Performance line models get some sportier styling, while cross variants get an SUV-inspired appearance. Appearance is all it is though. These cars don't even get a raised ride height, just some black trim and some roof bars. But as great as all of that is, the DS4 needs to tick all of those boxes, as well as being easy to live with and good to drive. Now we'll come to practicality in a moment, but first of all, let's see what this thing is like on the road. You hear that? No, me neither. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. There is a fully electric version coming in 2024, but for now the range is served by a petrol and a diesel, both of which we will ignore, as well as a plug-in hybrid like this, with a 12.4 kWh battery and a pure electric range of 35 miles. Prices for the Performance Line plug-in start from just under £35,000, or just over £43,500 for the La Premiere Launch Edition. The SUV-inspired cross trim is available on some models, but not all, for around £600 more than the standard car. But we'll review what we've got here today, and that is the La Premiere Launch Edition model. But no matter which spec or trim you go for, if you go for the plug-in hybrid, you get the same 1.6 litre turbocharged petrol engine as you do in the standard petrol model, as well as the same electric motor and petrol combination that you get in the DS9. That's a combined power output of 222 brake horsepower and 0 to 62 miles an hour in 7.7 seconds. Performance is adequate, but just like in the DS9, the electric motor pretty much patches over any flat spots, which means, by and large, it feels quicker than the performance figures suggest. Not that you'll want to use all that performance all that often. The DS4 is quite unashamedly geared towards comfort, and just like the DS9, again, it gets active scan suspension, whichever model you go for. That is, if you go for the E-Tense. The entry-level petrol versions don't all get that suspension setup. But basically what it does is it scans the road ahead for any lumps or bumps in the road and prepares each individual wheel to deal with those imperfections. And on the whole, it actually works really well. It actually wafts along pretty nicely. There's very little road noise, there's no wind noise, and even with the engine firing, you're not going to notice it unless you put your foot right to the floor. And that's all great. I mean, it really is. The DS4 offers something quite unique in this class, but as a result, there's just no engagement. It lacks any kind of feedback. The steering is so light. It's completely numb, and there's literally no feel to be had through the wheel. As a result, quite a lot of the time, you're left guessing which way the front wheels are pointing, and that's a shame. Rivals are stiffer, are less comfortable, but as a result, they just offer a greater sense of balance.
Plug-in hybrids like this have the ability to offer rock-bottom running costs, providing you use them as intended. That 35-mile official range is more like 28 to 30 in practice, which is on par with rivals but falls short of the A-Class's 40-plus mile official figure. Still, plug it in regularly, a task that takes between 2 hours on a 7kW wall box and 7 hours on a 3-pin plug, and you could see your fuel bills plummet. Company car drivers can slash their benefit-in-kind tax bills versus an equivalent petrol or diesel car, though again, the DS can't match the Mercedes in this regard.
How about as a family car then? These models need to be all things to all people, so a big boot and roomy rear seats are a must. Starting back here, you've got 390 litres with the seats up, or 1,240 litres with the seats down. That's pretty much on par with most cars in this class, but 40 litres smaller than the pure petrol version. The biggest issue, there's absolutely no underfloor storage under here. So if you want to carry the cables with you, if you want to charge at your destination, for example, you're going to have to put them in there with the rest of your luggage.
What isn't par for the class is space in the back. While fine for kids, both leg and headroom are tight, meaning taller adults, like me, aren't going to want to sit there for all that long.
And there you have it. It feels like we said something similar about the DS9 when we drove that a few months ago, but with every new product, the DS brand edges ever closer to being a true premium player for those established German brands. The DS4 is less quirky than other models in the DS range, but it's all the better for it. People in this area of the market want a car that says something about them, but they don't necessarily want diamonds on the dashboard or chrome trim splattered all over the outside. The DS4 is more conventional, and that is a good thing.
Head to drivingelectric.com for all the latest electric and hybrid car advice, news and reviews, and check us out on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Finally, while you're here, make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and turn on notifications to ensure you never miss a video.